Hi, and we're live. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit less rehearsed, or well, I've never rehearsed any of my live streams, but this is going to be less prepared because I'm just going to code along and speak as I code. Um, and what this is, and if you want to start code along with me, the glitch start point is going to be createSlice livestream start. So I've just kind of frozen that so that you can follow along. And then I'll just code on my version of that so that you won't, if you see this in the future, you'll actually have a good starting point to start with. So let's talk a little bit about what the problem is. Right now I have a working app that works on redux-starter-kit. And this is a heavy Redux app. Well, it's not heavy, but I'm just saying, this is a good example test case of using Redux, and you can see all the actions that are being fired here in the dev tools. And then the question becomes, how can we, it more or less works. I should probably try to show you the row clearing as well, which I was pretty happy to implement because you also have to think about scoring. Let me try. I'm not very good at this game. Okay, well, I didn't mean to prove it to you, but I just did. Okay, well, anyway, so the scoring does some factorial trick and all that. It's all good fun. Anyway, that's not the point of today's stream. The point of today's stream is trying to use Redux Starter Kit to the best of its abilities, and the way that we have this set up is we have a whole bunch of actions using create action. And that's basically just binding strings, and instead of just having it as screaming case variables, we also overload it to produce payloads. So they're both actions as well as action creators. And I use them in here. I don't really use them as action creators. So, well, I use them as action creators, but I don't really put any payloads on them. I just call them with an empty arguments. By the way, that's one of the things I got wrong in my previous stream on Redux, working on this app. But everything else is right, and so that's a very convenient shorthand enforced by syntax. So if you're not using TypeScript, this is very helpful to to not have typos, which is always helpful. And then the reducers though is a kind of a mess. I have to import the actions and then kind of name the actions, and this is what is recommended by createReducer. That you sort of import the action and then use them as a key, which casts into a string, and then create the reducer that corresponds to that key. So that's what I have now. This reducer is namespace under the game namespace. And that's something I don't like about that, which is there's essentially two states going on. There's whether the game is playing or not, and then while the game is playing, which there's like a sub state which just keeps track of score and board position and all that. So I would really like for these two things to interact with each other and clear each other. So so what I'm going to do in this stream is to so Mark said actually I should use createSlice, which sort of bundles up all this functionality that I talked about. And I was like, why I should have done that earlier. So it creates the actions, types, selectors, as well as takes in the reducers that I have as well. So this is the thing that I really ought to have, and I'm going to try making it. I'm going to base off of this example. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think I have a strong understanding of this of how I need to refactor this, but we may run into issues, and that's the fun of live streaming, right? So I'll just rearrange my screen a little bit, and we'll just get started. So I'm going to go over here. So the basic premise is that I can get rid of actions, and then I'll have to figure out how to delete this file. So I got rid of the actions thing, right? So now my app doesn't work, and I'm just gonna have to figure out how to replace that with the output of createSlice. So I'm just gonna call this, I don't know, slice. Yeah, slices. No more actions again. But and no more createReducer. I'm gonna say createSlice. And then we'll just see how far we can get. I'm not going to split up the game versus the board. I'm just going to keep them all together, but that may be the sort of second reach goal that we have. So when we create slice, you just pass it an object, and then you have the slice is optional. I'm just going to use it. Let's see what happens. Game live stream. Let's see if that shows up in the Redux dev tools. The initial state is my default state. I'm just going to call that. And then the reducers should just be everything that I used to have. Wow, that's a lot of actions. I'm also like not in the best of health right now, so that's why there's a little bit of raspiness in my throat. I don't think I need extra reducers. Let's see what extra reducers are. Blah blah blah. Other actions type beside the types it has generated. So I think I will need to use this eventually, but I don't need to yet. So I'm just not going to. So I'm going to keep going. So now I just need, string keys instead of actions, and that will hopefully be generated for me. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to go and select all these guys, delete, 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 and that should work. Okay. It looks like everything else is exactly the same as in createReducer. And now for this combine reducers piece. So I've created a slice. I haven't given it a name. You know what? Let's just keep it. I tend to want to have explicit defaults. Explicit exports instead of default exports. But it's not a deal breaker. So from here, I can import the game slice, I guess. And instead of combine reducers, I can say that my game is the game slice.reducer. It's still not going to fix it because I need to go here and fix the import that I took out, which is game slice from Selectors game. Someone else is importing. Who else is importing? Oh, there you go. And then everyone that has actions in it needs to point to my slice and pull from that. So one thing I can do is just say const actions equals GameSlice.actions. Import and budget module. Lint. What am I doing? Controls. Okay, controls import some actions as well. So same deal. I'm gonna import the game slice and then call out the actions. In fact, might be able to just do something like that. You know what? I'm not gonna be too fancy. So I guess block might have it as well. Nope. Scoreboard. Nope. I still use connect. No, where else do you want me? Reducers game.js. What are you talking about? Oh, where am I importing store reducers game.js? Okay, so right. So I renamed this. It's like this, and that should work. I hope that works. Okay, so that was a complete refactor. To use createSlices, I have one less file because all the actions. Wow, this looks so nice. Look at this. All the actions are defined as part of my reducers, and then become auto-created actions. So that was the entirety of my planned refactoring. I'm gonna go a little bolder now and try to split out different slices as well. So instead of one big chunk inside a game, I can have game and board. And I'll have to decide which belongs to which. So, obviously we're not at a scale where this really matters, but I just like to get some practice splitting up state because those are easier to reason about on their own. And yeah, you're welcome to come along with me on this magical carpet ride for life. Whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. All right, so game only has the responsibility of tracking game state, that's what I'm suggesting as splitting it up, right? So the game state only has one thing to it, which is are we playing or not. So we'll just call it game livestream still. But I don't need update board. By the way, this code base is me adapting an existing Redux code base, which is why there's some spare unused code, which I don't actually use. So bear with me as I refactor while I am trying to also show you how I code. And hopefully that's helpful. I haven't actually coded the game over state yet, so we're just going to leave that for now. And I think we'll just get rid of all of this. Get rid of all of this. So this is a very, very simple section. Literally is, I don't even use that. Use that. It's a very, very simple game state. And then inside the board section, I don't control the game state anymore. And now I just focus on the board. Let's get rid of that. I don't know if I need reset game. I think I left it there. I'm just gonna leave it. I intentionally let this code be duplicative while I figure out what exact code I need, but I can refactor this to take them out into reusable functions. Um, I always feel like I need to apologize for my bad coding. Okay. So now we have game state and board state that's been split up. Um, and then the task is to combine these two things. So let's see what's going on. Inside of store, we've already wired that up. Inside of controls, we have game slice. That's exactly right. We only pay attention to game slice over here. And then inside of game, we need both game slice as well as board slice. And we probably want to make this, make the whatever we call actions, board slice actions. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just say game slice dot actions dot start game. And then here we have board slice actions. This is the one I use more, so I'm just going to name it actions. It probably is a little bit confusing, but I think it's readable enough. Definitely a judgment call from my point of view. That's the other thing as well, that we can use selectors. And here I have a very broad-based selector. And we might not like that. We might want to do other things. So what I think I've done, hang on, blah, blah, blah. Where's my start game? Controls. Okay, I think I have everything right. So I still have some kind of bug here. Let's figure out what that is. So combined board is not a valid thing. So I suspect where I might have gone wrong is the nature of the selector might have changed. So let's figure out what I'm doing over here, because I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Oh, that's simple. Needed the board. Silly me. But this is not, I mean, that's not the end of the discussion. So just hang tight. I just want to make sure that this kind of sort of works. Uh-oh. This is not good. All right. So I should have some sort of status thing. Oh, there we go. So status comes from the game slice, and everything else comes from the board slice. And it was undefined, which is why this start button wasn't showing up. So then the last piece of the API that I wanted to take advantage of is the getters. So user.getters selectors.getUsers. So if I understand well, I don't understand. So how does this selector Oh, it seems like it's a. So this is where the naming of the slice matters, and I'm gonna regret naming it a frivolous name. So I'm gonna go back and change it back to something more reasonable. Game or board. Um, but in fact, for game, I'm just gonna leave it out. I just want to see what happens. Because if I leave it out, a selector name get state will be generated that just returns this argument. I'm not sure that that's the best API for this. I'll probably tell Mark about this, but um, like if you're telling me that this is not good enough, and I'm gonna replace dot GameSlice.selectors dot get state. Is that right? Just returns this argument. No, it doesn't work. Is it selectors? Selectors. All right. So I clearly don't have something going on right here. Okay. So no worries. I can also check what the selectors are. Yeah. So it should just call what, I mean, what's the hang up here? Can I get you to, well, what exactly do you do? I think I can I get you to like print store as global variable? Is this how it works? Oh, I can store as global variable, right? Failed to save to temp variable. Okay. Um, so no, I don't know how this thing works. I thought it was just a simple function that I could pass in to use selector. But even then, it's not really giving me anything that, that I really want. Okay. What if I named it? Would that? Oh, store.getState. Nope, that's on the Redux store. So I still need selectors. All right, let's just call this selectors. Have that on GameState, and then now I'm just gonna say instead of get state, let's get game, and hopefully that works. Fresh. Ooh. All right, so that was a lot of hassle. I guess the type system does enforce it. I mean, I guess the JavaScript checking or whatever does enforce it, but I'm not sure that this is easier than this, which seems a lot more flexible, and I can use arbitrary logic to pre-process, which is also very nice. So I'm not super sold on selectors, but hey, some people like them, and that's what they're there for. So I'm not too concerned about it. Um, so one thing I want to do, which I'm not going to do in this live stream because I feel like I've gone on for long enough. I want to be able to say things like, "All right, I'm in my board, my game tick, and I I have a game tick, and it ticks, and yeah, okay. Let me just check that this game works still. Shit, I suck at this game. I suck at this game. Oh, no. It's not the best demo. Okay. Oh shit. This game is hard to test. Stop giving me stupid pieces. Okay, there we go. At least it still works. Okay, so I want to say if I cannot move down anymore and I make a new piece, and it falls on top of an existing thing, I want to be able to say that the game is over and then call game over here. So my instinct for how that works is that I should use the extra reducers. But here it's responding. and and so I might need to use create action, but then also I feel like this is not the best way to organize this, so I'm gonna have to think about that. So anyway, hopefully this helps in terms of figuring out the difference between createSlice and createReducer, and you can see me apply it in real time. All right, thank you very much.